The mountains are gorgeous. The water is so glassy and clear. It's so beautiful. I think I'm allergic to how clean the air is. I'm very anxious to hear about what happened with my great-grandfather and his Klondike expedition.
Wrangell was one of the gateways to the Klondike. When the news of the discovery of gold hit the world in 1897, it really changed the course of history.
Gold was discovered in the Klondike in 1896, and the rush to the area peaked in 1898. Known as stampeders, an estimated 100,000 people like Jesse Wheat Uppercue strove to reach the Klondike, seeking their fortunes in a quest for gold.
So my great-grandfather was a promoter of this expedition. What would his role have been?
He was the organizational genius that put it together. So he was the fundraiser, and he was also the financial manager, and it was his job to keep track of the money and the resources and decide how it was spent.
Oh boy, all right. So he was just holding on to the money, more or less.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
to put the money to good work.
I'm sure he did.
And another responsibility as promoter was choosing the route.
Okay.
He came up with the whole idea, and basically the whole enterprise rested on the trust and faith in him as the organizer and the leader.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. This seems like a lot of physical labor, and it's just a lot to put yourself through. My great-grandfather was 48 years old when this was happening. The strength that he has, it's that I do find actually incredibly inspiring. Is there anything else about that, I mean, his journey that you can share with me?
The secretary of the expedition wrote a series of letters back to his hometown paper which detail the record of the expedition. We've taken some of the articles and collated them here and put them in a book.
That's so cool. Okay, so Tacoma, March 9th, 1898. We have 90 tons of machinery, groceries and hardware, etc., besides 36 horses. These latter will be used to sled our supplies up the Stikine River from Fort Wrangell to Telegraph Creek, thence to Lake Teslin, where we put up our boats and machinery. Wow.
Your great-grandfather's expedition is a unique one, as far as I can see from the record, in the size and complexity of the expedition. It's really quite amazing.
How so?
Not just the number of people involved, more than 60, but the huge amount of machinery. They brought along a portable sawmill, a portable boat, a barge, all kinds of things, and a gold digging machine that they hoped would turn out up to 100 tons of dirt a day.
This wasn't what other people who were going there were doing. This was something unique and new? Is that what you're saying?
It's a very large-scale enterprise. Most of the Klondike expeditions didn't have the grandiose plans of your great-grandfather. This is a map showing many of the most popular routes to the Klondike.
Okay.
We're right here in Wrangell, down here in southeastern Alaska.
Yeah, Fort Wrangell.
The Stikine route was the one that your great-grandfather picked. It's also known as the Teslin Trail.
Okay.
I think we should take this book and the letters out and go out on the Stikine River itself, because it's not far from here. And that might be a nice adventure 116 years later.
I love that. Let's do that, definitely.
All right.
Let's go. I'm really excited to actually be on a boat and sort of relive what happened with him. I always feel like he had these great ideas, but I don't know if his follow-through was always there. I don't know if he had the skills to lead something like this. And the fact that it sort of came out of left field. One day he was collecting bills, and now all of a sudden he's deciding he wants to take 60 plus men into Alaska. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you? It's sort of pompous to think that, you know, that you have the skills and the ability to do that. So I'm anxious to see if he actually succeeded. So where are we right now?
We're getting ready to head into the mouth of the Stikine River, which is where your great-grandfather headed in 1898.
Crazy.
Jesse Wheat Uppercue planned to follow the Stikine route to reach the Klondike. The expedition would travel from Fort Wrangell up the Stikine River to Telegraph Creek. From there, they would trek overland to Lake Teslin, move downstream to the Yukon River, then follow that to their final destination, the boomtown of Dawson. The trip would cover more than 700 miles and take many months to complete.
Because this landscape looks exactly like it did 116 years ago when your great-grandfather was here.
Seems very untouched.
I know, it's amazing.
So this is where my great-grandfather would have come.
Absolutely.
This is so beautiful out here.
So it's from here, they have to go up to Telegraph Creek, which is about 140 miles or so.
Right.
Take a look at where we left off with the expedition.
It says, and now our trouble began. Part of our horses and sleds were sent up the river 10 miles the same day. Our men who drove the horses slept on the snow that night, only with one blanket each. The thermometer registered about 15 below zero. Nearly all of our men caught bad cold or had lame backs from sleeping on the snow. John Wright of New York, one of our members, caught a bad cold before reaching Tacoma. Our doctor advised him to return home, but he refused. We wrapped him in blankets and tied him on a sled, but it was too late. He died 2 days out from Wrangell. Wow, so already someone's died.
Yeah, there was a great deal of frostbite, hypothermia.
You risked a lot. You risked your lives coming out to do this. We found out there was no wagon road as had been advertised, and the trail was a miserable one. The only chance to go over the country was to pack goods on the backs of horses or mules. As an expedition of large body of men, we were blocked out, as we had planned to go over the trail with sleds before the snow left. When they say that they were blocked out, they mean like they were screwed.
Exactly.
Okay.
This route, especially with a large machinery, wouldn't work. This is a combination of mud and rock, so thickly timbered with brush, you can't cut your way through.
Right.
This is a really tough obstacle course.
Right.
Like it's just designed to stop your great-grandfather and his 90 tons of machinery and his 60 men and his 40 horses and his 20,000 pounds of flour.
He must have been heartbroken. I mean...
Absolutely, Jesse. This was not working.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. At a meeting on the expedition held July 29th, a resolution was passed that all members who desired might leave the expedition and still retain all of their interest in it by leaving their share of the food to those who chose to remain. 24 men took advantage of the proposition.
A lot of people are disheartened and disappointed, and they're going to pull out. Yeah.
Right. The expedition required at the very start a firm, strong hand at its head, a good manager who knew how to handle men, a man who was up early in the morning and late at night and never found lying in his tent during the day. It had no such person at its head. The promoter, my great-grandfather, and manager of the expedition left for home August 6th, resigning as manager before going. So my great-grandfather was one of the people who left. Wow. That's sad. That makes me very sad for him. He must have been really, really upset, and I'm sure his pride was deeply wounded. Wow. That's it. That's all you have. So no one from that expedition ever got there and ever made any money.
Even though members of the expedition stayed on, they didn't find any gold.
Oh my God. I wonder why my great-grandfather decided to leave. It seems like he was just saddled with a lot of really bad luck all along the way. There must have just been a point when he said enough is enough and I have to cut my losses.
Yeah, this didn't work. And he's not alone. You know, 30 or 40,000 people actually made it to the Klondike out of these hundreds of thousands who wanted to. Probably only a few hundred at the most really ever made any significant amounts of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting the expedition this far, even if it didn't work, you know,
Right.
I think that's something you ought to be able to feel proud about.
Yeah. It was devastating to read how they just kept coming up against barrier after barrier after barrier. And I wasn't surprised when I found out that he had left. He does seem like the type of guy who wants it easy and wants it fast. But when I said that I came from a very stable, secure, I might have used the word boring family, I certainly got my fill of drama.